Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a highly questionable corner of the gaming world. We're looking at the top 10 most perverted games you might want to avoid. We're going to completely deadpan our way through a list of games that take the idea of fan service, strap a rocket to it, and plummet straight into unapologetic absurdity. So look, if you're hunting for wholesome family game night material, consider this your digital smoke alarm screaming at you to turn back. You've been officially warned.
All right, let's just jump right into this descent into madness. Because as you'll see, some games kind of flirt with fan service, right? But others, they kick the door down wearing absolutely nothing but confidence and, well, questionable life choices. It's genuinely fascinating how developers cater to these hyper-specific niche markets, often completely throwing actual gameplay out the window. So let's kick things off with our first batch, a group I like to lovingly call the warm-up weirdos.
Number 10. Crashing the party at number 10 is Leisure Suit Larry Magna Cum Laude. Released back in the PS2 and Xbox era, this one took a classic franchise and somehow stripped away whatever subtle charm it might have actually had.
Because, on paper, it sounds fine, right? A lively college comedy dating sim. But the reality? Oh man, it's exactly like being trapped at a party with that one guy who just will not stop telling dirty jokes from 1998. Literally, every objective is basically an embarrassing pickup line that would make a telemarketer cringe. The humor just aggressively misses the mark, substituting actual comedic timing with sheer uncomfortable persistence.
Moving on, number 9 shows us how this builds into an entirely different flavor of weird. Enter Galgun. This is a game where Cupid clearly made a colossal administrative error.
The entire premise is basically a pink hurricane powered entirely by awkwardness. Cupid accidentally turns you into the most desirable student on campus. And your defense mechanism? Instead of, actually going to your classes, you shoot confessing girls with pheromone blasts until they collapse in ecstatic poses. Which is totally a normal high school curriculum, right? It's this utterly bizarre twist on the rail shooter genre that honestly leaves you wondering who on earth greenlit this in a corporate boardroom.
All right, hitting number 8, we have Criminal Girls Invite Only. Now, this is an RPG that somehow figured out a way to make traditional turn-based combat and dungeon crawling feel like a massive social liability. See, the game relies heavily on what it calls motivation sessions. And these are actual, literal gameplay pauses specifically designed to test exactly how uncomfortable you can get while technically still playing a video game. You're effectively punishing characters to unlock their skills. Let's just say playing this virtually guarantees that anyone walking past your screen is going to stop, stare, and ask you some very, very difficult questions about your hobbies. Okay, number 7. We are now entering the gravity-defying nonsense phase of our list with One Chanbara, Bikini Samurai Squad. And yeah, that title tells you exactly what you're in for before you even hit start. It's basically a horror movie mashed up with a swimsuit calendar that totally forgot to include any common sense. There's a full-blown zombie apocalypse happening, right? But instead of wearing tactical gear or, armor, these sword-wielding heroines are fighting the undead in outfits that seem to have lost a bitter argument with gravity. And somehow these costumes survive hundreds of chainsaw attacks without gaining a single inch of protective fabric. It literally defies all known laws of physics. Bracing ourselves for number 6, we've got Senran Kagura Burst. This is a game that took the whole concept of a ninja action game and just chucked it straight out the window. The box tries to claim you're getting this serious ninja action game, but in practice, it's an explosion of physics engines fueled by espresso and pure chaos. Every single battle sends clothing flying, and the camera behaves like it has completely forgotten the concept of personal space. It is actually wild how much technical effort the developers poured into the clothing destruction mechanics, instead of, combat depth. By the time a mission ends, you'll remember absolutely nothing about the actual story. Keeping this explainer rolling into the vampires and volleyball theme, number 5 is Akiba's Trip Undead and Undressed. Yes, that is the actual title, and yes, it is a massive, terrible pun. The highly tactical combat here goes exactly like this. Step 1, encounter a vampire. Step 2, remove their clothing. Step 3, sunlight destroys them. That is literally the core gameplay loop. The streets of Akihabara become this absolute tornado of flying jackets, hats, and considerably more, which the innocent pedestrians apparently just accept as a totally normal Tuesday afternoon. It turns urban fantasy into an aggressive, involuntary laundry day.
All right, number 4 is Dead or Alive Extreme 3. This is the game where volleyball technically exists, but mostly just as an accidental side quest somebody left in the code by mistake. Playing this thing is honestly like watching a nature documentary crew studying extremely fashionable flamingos on a tropical island. You've got casinos, poolside lounges, endless photo shoots. And meanwhile, the camera is aggressively zooming and circling every single scene with this ridiculous, unrelenting level of journalistic dedication. The sheer amount of budget the studio spent on skin rendering technology over actual sports mechanics, yeah, that tells you everything you need to know about who they made this for. Welcome to the bait and switch portion of our list. Number 3 is Honey Pop. If you've ever wanted to see a puzzle game completely lose its mind, well, this is it. It disguises itself so beautifully at first as this cheerful, harmless jewel-matching game, but then boom, it suddenly drops its walls to reveal a neon, adults-only carnival. It actively lures you in with satisfying, genuinely addictive puzzle mechanics, only to aggressively abandon all subtlety for increasingly explicit dating scenarios. It's the ultimate digital trapdoor, basically leveraging a casual game genre to sneak in content that would make a sailor blush. Stumbling drunkenly into number 2, we have House Party, a game that attempts to simulate a fun social gathering, but ends up simulating an absolute fever dream. You're basically wandering through a sitcom where every single character accidentally chugged 5 cans of liquid chaos. You start with this super simple quest, like, hey, go find a missing phone, and it rapidly mutates into a spectacular train wreck of terrible decisions, outrageous conversations, and scenarios that would genuinely make reality TV producers nervous. It's just a labyrinth of absurdity built on completely unhinged social mechanics. Okay, before we reveal our grand finale, we gotta blitz through some honorable mentions. We've got Omega Labyrinth Life, Artificial Academy 2, Custom Made 3D 2, and Monster Montpiece. Now, these titles represent a very peculiar, hyper-specific corner of gaming history, where traditional design takes a total backseat to super niche player fantasies. Which really leads us to ask the ultimate question here. What happens when subtlety packs its bags, boards a rocket, and is just never seen again? Like, what happens when a game's mechanics are built almost exclusively for suggestive interactions, completely abandoning any pretense of a normal gaming experience? Well, that brings us to number 1. Taking the top spot as the absolute ultimate absurdity is Koikatsu Party. Honestly, it's less of a conventional game and way more of an enormous, dizzying anime sandbox of romantic fantasy. Walking into this expecting a standard, story-driven visual novel is like opening a harmless-looking wardrobe and finding a full-blown neon carnival inside, complete with confetti cannons and a giant flashing sign reading, "You have taken a very unexpected turn." The customization is so absurdly deep, you can easily spend 2 hours just adjusting hairstyles and eye shapes. But behind those super polished menus is a world engineered solely for titillation. It's basically a monument to exactly how far the industry will go to cater to anime tropes. And that wraps up our explainer on these incredibly perverted, logic-defying games. But it really does leave us wondering, what exactly does the enduring popularity of these chaotic, hilariously shameless mechanics say about the gaming industry as a whole? The fact that developers continually find financial success by ignoring conventional gameplay in favor of unapologetic fan service is kind of fascinating. So I gotta ask you, if your gaming library was a house on fire, which of these digital smoke alarms would you save first, or would you just stand back and let the whole thing burn? Thanks for hanging out with me on this wild ride, and keep questioning the games you play.